once you're going to the bomb shelter, is in a war, and we still are going and doing our job. And the company was arranging, honestly, trainings how to stay alive.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the new episode of Professionals Unplugged. I am your host, Utkarsh Shukla, and today we have Asya again on our podcast. Last time we discussed about Asya's life as a professional, like being a content manager or a community manager, going through different roles, moving from Russia to Israel in order to help her brother who was fighting from cancer, and then living her own dream life where she's gone through different roles. Today, we are going to deep dive into how her life is in Israel. As we all know, Israel is going through a war right now. And yesterday as well, we have heard that Iran has fired around 150 missiles over Israel. So this conversation will be more towards how the life looks like in a country that is going through war from all its neighbor side. That also we can say for Israel. And this is not only related to Israel, but to the generic people, like how people are suffering when their nation has to go through all those things. So first of all, Asya, thank you so much for joining again.
Thank you for inviting me again. It's such a pleasure to be honored by your audience and your company twice.
Thank you so much, Asya. And as we all know, like there has been tough situation there in Israel, right? So starting from you, um, coming from Russia, that is also now going through a war with Ukraine and now in Israel. Life is not being tough to you, right? So if you can just tell us a bit about you, like how you are surviving or how you are living in this particular moment, and what are the thoughts that
Mhm.
have in your minds.
Uh, First of all, I'd like to bring out that I was born technically in USSR, and when USSR collapsed, we started to have Russia, and that means that nothing was safe in the country. I was remembering that it was normal to have wild dogs in the street. It was normal to have aggressive homeless people on the street. So my childhood was like, "Mommy, why is this man is not moving? Don't watch Asya, he's sleeping." So I'm not such a uh, delicate flower as I might look like, or as people are expecting me to be. So moving to Israel was happening in 2014. I basically faced another war that was happening there, and I was new to the concept living in the country during the war. What I'd like to mention is that Israelis, they're extremely strong and also have a positive set of mind. The country is in a war, and we still are going and doing our job. We are not desperate. We are supporting each other, religious and non-religious people, and even some foreigners that came here for studies or making some projects, or people who are founding their startups. The Even if they were not born in Israel, they still feel such a support and bond from anyone they are surrounded with. Um, what also I would like to give the credit is for the companies. In 2014, I started my first job in Israel, and I was working as a translator for a company. And the company was arranging, honestly, trainings how to stay alive. We were having emails that were saying like, at this time, there's gonna be a signal. That is not a true signal. It's just we are practicing how do we evacuate the building, where should anyone go, how to behave, what to do. And I remember those trainings for several weeks when I was hearing this noise that I usually can hear maybe in some Hollywood movies, and then running to the stairs and chilling with my co-workers, making jokes, laughing, doing selfies, and then go back to my desk to work. And at the same time, there was another reality during the lunchtime. We were having terrorists inside the country. And you think like country is big. No, it's not. Why is dating in Israel is kind of hard? you should not spoil that because there are so many chances that the relationship that you spoiled with the person, he or she has so many relatives that you're going to work with. This is that small. It's like a big village. So during the lunch, when you're staying and waiting for a traffic light to turn green, my coworker was covering my back. I was looking in one side, he was looking in another side just to check that we can react fast if something strange is happening. Strange might be a person with a knife, person with a gun. There is an option when this person runs with a knife and a gun. Uh, Extremely rare if it is a bomb because our security system is built in that way that skip with the bomb into the building or into the street is almost mission impossible. Why almost? I'm a little bit pessimistic person. I always budget some percentage for the risk. And if you're moving today, it's 2024. I'm more experienced to everything that is happening. We have special applications that are telling us that the missiles are coming, or if uh, somebody got or something got into our borders and managed to cross them. And in addition, we also have this special signal in the phone based on the technology of mobile connection. As you know, the mobile connection is called like this because there is like a signal, there is like a tower in the street, and there are like regions in the whole cities. And if somebody is in this region of signal, they can have a warning without sharing their phone number or contact number or even Wi-Fi, just enough to have the connection to the signal of the operator. So, and um, every shop, every office has the special instructions how to guide their guests to the safe place. And also there's designated safe places. We also have signs where to go. We also have instructions how long should be with there. Even if you don't hear helicopters above you, that doesn't mean it's a good idea to leave your shelter. You have to wait for 15 minutes. And after that, if there is no signal or if there is no emergencies, in the official chats or websites or apps or in the news chats that you might have, then you can live and continue your normal day. Yes, we are calling this a normal day. You're working, you're having lunch, you're sometimes hiding in a safe place.
That sounds really tough. And there must be one thought that comes to your mind while living this life. Why not go to another country where there can be more peace? So why you guys are in Israel? I mean, it's really hard to change a country, but there must be
Mhm.
this thought that comes to your mind at any point of your life. Did it really come?
There was, and I'm not alone with that. Even is the true Israelis and Jewish people are living country. But I'd like to point out, first of all, there is a wrong perception that everyone who is in Israel, they are Jewish or Zionists. That is like we all are religion people. We're connected with the same blood, with the same beliefs, which is not true. Israel is one of the most multicultural countries that you will find in the world. And if you're moving out of Israel, your options kind of like limited because people, the religion ones who are supporting terrorist organizations, they tend to spread a misinformation and they tend to uh, find the ways how to make your lives much more complicated. And regarding leaving the country, it's also interesting to notice every Israeli believes that we can protect our country, we can protect our family, we will be strong, and nobody gonna move us out. First of all, there is no way to move out. Every nation has a country. Israelis got their country after the war, many, many years ago. And it was not like a decision by many people. Okay, there is an empty place, we go there. Oh, it was decision of United Nations. They said, hey, there is a place, you go there. It's officially your place. Please go. And we went there and we started building our home. And after a while, companies also noticed that Israelis tend to do a good products. We are leading developers of cybersecurity and data security. We have many applications and services that are helping people in everyday life or with the um, health or medicine or doing surgeries or researches of the space and etc. And it's not only us who see this, it is also investors from the other companies. One of the biggest examples is NVIDIA. Recently, it opened another division in Israel. So a huge company that is the leader of the world decided it's a nice place to have here a production in Israel, in the country that is in a war. So they have numbers. They see what is going on. They believe that the state is extremely strong. Same about me.
That's really great thing. I think you are telling us that the roots that people have is very close to their nation and they want to live and protect the nation at any cost, right? And this thing I think is missing in a lot of countries, like where people think it's good to leave their country and go out to some developed nation. So I just want to know the secret behind it. Like, what are those things that in Israel that they tell their people, and what is the main strength I can say that keeps motivating you guys to stay there and live in Israel?
I it doesn't goes from the government for sure. It goes from peer to peer. Um, Israel Israelis have such a strong family traditions of supporting each other and supporting community around you, and that is what is holding them together. And even if you're not into religion and you're not from the religious family, you still have the same traits in your behavior and mindset. And I honestly would say that during traveling the world, I realized that Israeli people are the most welcome, warmest people that I met on the street or during the work. They're extremely supportive. And at the same, they're not kind of, they're really authentic and genuine. If they say something nice to you, they really mean this. It's not that what they need something from you.
That's really great. So the main point of motivation is, I think, the people themselves, like the community
Hmm.
you guys have built up, either you are religious or not. It's totally on the peer to peer, like you have mentioned, and that is what keeping you guys very well motivated and giving you the strength to remain in Israel and keep protecting the nation.
Hmm. That is how it is. True.
That's great. Talking about the military system and the innovations you have mentioned, like you guys have a lot of good things in order to know when to go under shelters and how to do those things. So, how a day looks like to you right now? Because uh, these things can happen at night only when you are asleep. So, when you guys are like going to sleep, do you have that thought in your mind, like you might need to wake up at any time when the alarm goes on? So how is your mindset now today? In, like, say for example, for today case only, yesterday you might have got few alarms. Or I think the most of the missiles were tackled through the system only, but just wanted to know your mentality, like how a day looks like to you now.
I think it's going to be a long story right now with many layers. I will try to make it short and fun. Um, First of all, if you ever watched the TV show How I Met Your Mother, there is a character, Barney Stinson. And if you remember, he was wearing a nice silk pajama that was looking like a suit. So, personally, I invested in a nice set of pajamas in case if I have to run out during the night. I will meet my neighbors nicely dressed, smelling perfectly, maybe with the hairstyle. We also have a huge amount of jokes that once you're going to the bomb shelter, there are two types of the bomb shelter, three types of the bomb shelter. One is a personal that uh, are in every new building, and families who are living in those apartments, they have their personal bomb shelter inside the apartment. It's a room that was specially designed to be able to stand the missiles, or if earthquake is happening, it doesn't mean that it's not going to collapse. It means that even if it is collapsed, you're still going to survive and be safe there. But that is such a rare case of buildings being crushed, extremely rare. So the second type of the bomb shelters are in the house. They're public bomb shelters and usually placed somewhere in the house on the ground floors. And this is the place where you meet all your neighbors. Some people are finding their love. Some people are finding their contacts that gonna recommend them for a job. Other people are enjoying the company of the neighbor pets. Um, what else? We also have public shelters. This is the third type that is placed somewhere in the city. Usually, oh, I cannot say how it's this one. I will filter. I'm not gonna say where the public shelters in the city, but they are. We know where they're placed. They're mapped on the map. We also can go to the shelter inside the warehouse or maybe any shop, or or we can also rely on how the whole city is constructed, because there are places in the city that can work as a bomb shelter.
Mhm.
So as a result, we are not as scared during the night that we have to go out. What we are scared the most is that we don't have enough time to have a nice shower or bath, because there is no more disappointing thing when you start to shampoo your hair and then you have a missile, so you have to wrap in your towel and go to the bomb shelter and find other neighbors perfectly dressed, waiting for you and welcoming.
I mean, that's the most humorous answer I can get, I think.
I can add some more.
For sure.
Um, we always track what is going on, like what is happening in the sky, and we have data when our uh, where those terrorists prefer to send fire to the country. I'd like to mention that I'm saying terrorists because those are terrorists. I'm not speaking about religion people. I'm not speaking about the nation. I'm not speaking about the countries. They're terrorist organizations inside the country, and they are attacking Israel, not the countries itself.
Mm.
So, and we have data and we notice that usually they would love to wake up really lately, and they start the fire around 12, and then they tend to love doing this in around hours. The higher hour is usually about 3 or 4. Somewhere at 10 in the night, they're stopping because maybe they're seeing nothing or they're getting too tired. I don't know. Maybe we need to feel pity for the people who are sending missiles to us, that they don't have a solid schedule, and that everyone should work hard in the middle of the day when the sun is high and it's extremely hot.
Uh, that's a perfect answer. And to know more about the details, I think I've asked you the basic questions. But as a citizen of Israel, like, right, why do you think this war is happening? Like, what is your takeaway on the same?
I'm not a professional. I'm not an expert in this question. I can only share my own perspective. And for my own opinion, is that terrorist organizations are earning money on this. There are many ways how you can earn money on that. First of all, there's stock exchange where you can trade stocks. So you also can do the insurance on them. And in case of the war, you can have like getting back the money. Secondly, um, it's not a religious war because they are not saying that our God is right, your God is wrong, and we're not saying the same. And thirdly, it is extremely strange that for 70 years plus, Israel is still on the land and it is attacked by 7 countries. It is attacked not by the countries, it is attacked seven, from 7 countries.
Seven terrorist
Countries.
organization living in different countries.
Yes, I'm not sure that there are seven terrorist organizations. We have Hamas, Hezbollah, and someone else that I don't remember the name, and I don't speak Arabic. That is strange that everyone is attacking Israel and they, at the same time, they're not developing their country. They have a huge problem of refugees. Every time when they have conflict in their country, their neighbors, like Egypt, for example, they do not accept those refugees. In addition, we know that the refugees that managed to leave their country during the first wars, they're still living in other countries we with no citizenship. They still have this title that they're refugee. And basically, this title of refugees is transmitted by sex. It is not inherited. Everyone in a refugee family, once they have a baby, this baby becomes a refugee automatically. And also, it has the refugee right. It means that it has money from United Nations or our other organizations. It has some additional help and it can rely on extra budget while living a miserable life with no house and maybe in a camp. For me, it is strange that all seven countries where our terrorist organizations are that chill about their own nation that is surviving in other countries and they spend the money that they were able to spend for the refugees to help them going back home, or maybe for education inside their country, or maybe for research works inside the country. They spend those money for missiles, for the attacks, for building tunnels, for doing their own army. It's just not logical. Let's convert all those attacks that we have in Israel. You can go to Google and find a website. It's called Red Alarm, if I remember right, and just open and see in what days, in what hours the rockets are crossing our border and start calculating how much is every missile. It's not only the missile itself, it's also work of people who are firing them, who are bringing them, who are establishing them, people who are managing them. It's a huge amount of money. Those are trillions of dollars, and they are just set to the fire to make a fireworks, which is extremely stupid, for my opinion. Meanwhile, Israel managed to develop a system that bombs those missiles in the sky. We rarely have cases when the missile drop in the country and explodes, actually. We only encounter sometimes that the parts of the missiles are dropping on the earth. And uh, Israel invested the money in the way that we are not only a startup nation, but we also the country that protects its own people. And if anyone who is able to prove that he or she has roots in Israel, they can return to the country, have a citizenship, have a support, have all rights, have all social insurance, and continue living nicely. It's like two different approaches between what Israel does and what terrorist organizations are doing with their own countries where they are placed.
I think, yeah, that's very valid point that you have just mentioned. Why not to use all those monies that you are spending on missiles and all those workspaces in order to develop your own country or the country where you guys are residing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's better to use it for the betterment of living rather than doing the opposite of the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we still don't know the answer for the same why the main reason of them is to do such things. Hope it gets over soon.
I think it's not gonna be over soon because people are not using that are not using critical thinking. Just check the agenda of every terrorist organization or supporters of those terrorist organizations. The most famous right now is anyone who screams "Free Palestine."
Mm.
Check what they mean free Palestine, free Palestine. They don't want Israel to give land. They don't want shared responsibilities. They just want to take the whole country and, quoting them, drop to the sea. It's 1 million people should be dead. It's not saying that they should go to another place. And where should Israelis go? It's one country. They don't have any other place. Um, so people just do not realize what they are doing because the slogan is so nice and it marketed nicely. Free. It is what Hollywood is always putting in every movie. Free will, free move, and nobody is understanding that behind the word free, there is also responsibility and consequences. Palestine is not a state still, and it is not a state because they refuse to take those responsibilities. Every time when we have negotiations, when the United Nations is supporting those negotiations, it is offered to Palestine to become a state, but that means that it's not also Palestine going to have their own airport and other facilities and other benefits. It's also going to have responsibilities, which means a clear understanding what is the border, a clear consequences if they are crossing the border, um, a clear and also if they're becoming the state, they're gonna have no funds anymore for refugees and helping their own country to rebuild new missiles or rebuild new tunnels.
I totally agree with you on this point. It's very important to do critical thinking, and the way people have been brainwashed with the terms or the marketing that you just mentioned
Mm-hmm.
is the charm on the world that people are hearing free Palestine, but nobody knows the reality behind it. Everyone is just want to repost it without knowing the truth. If you want to repost it, you can, but you should be aware of why you are reposting it and
Mm-hmm.
uh, what's the main agenda behind it. It's not good or bad to promote anything, but you should
Yeah.
be yourself aware of the thing why those things are really getting done and the main agenda behind it rather than blindly going after what the mass is going after, right?
You're saying this so nicely that we need to switch the roles. I'm asking questions, you're replying.
Yeah, I think kind of same. I'm just I'm just rephrasing what you are saying uh,
Mm-hmm.
in a more easy way, I can say, or I'm just summarizing your answers in a two-liners or three-liners.
You're much better than ChatGPT because when you're asking the question, it takes me time to
Hmm.
take all the information that I know to put it in a sentence, but still I'm missing the focus. So our communication is especially valuable because by summarizing my speech, you're bringing out what I was meaning. And thank you for translating me from English to English. I extremely appreciate this.
I don't know to take it as a compliment or not, but I will take it as a compliment.
That is a compliment. Don't forget, I said that you're better than ChatGPT.
That's a huge compliment. Coming to ChatGPT and the corporate world, so do you think Israel is getting all the support, or are companies still investing in Israel? As you are from corporate world only, how how are you seeing the approaches of other companies? Are some of the companies being afraid in order to set up their companies in Israel or hire people from Israel? What is the situation there right now? The ground reality that you can tell us.
I cannot describe the whole picture and situation there because I'm not that active anymore in the um, uh, networking with the startups and investors. But what I noticed starting from 2014 that we continue having funds in Israel to open new offices, open new factories, um, establish data centers in the country, despite if there is a war, if it is a threat of war, or even if it was a terror attack that we had from like we had on 7th of October. Unfortunately, I don't know personally those investors who are giving millions or billions dollars to open a production in Israel, but at the same time, I never came across that a company decided to invest, then got scared and decided to move it to another place. It never was happening.
That's really great to hear. So none of the time you guys have been what to say, like there has been shutdown of any services from internet. Like what happened in Russia was like I think Google was down completely and Meta also stopped their service. So none of those things happened in Israel.
Never, we were never banned. It's my personal opinion again. I cannot say for the whole
I
country
also
and
think
everyone
that
there. Yes,
I think
I'm just mentioning this for the audience, but I never remember any situation when we were shut down from the web, from the services. We were not able to use any app like for purchasing things, transferring money, establishing accounts, buying the service for data centers or for security. It's always open to the whole world, and we are always connected to the whole world, except China.
China is something a separate topic. Uh,
Yes, they have their own planet.
it's a separate topic, yeah. I think that shows which is the right side. I won't name it, but this really
Mhm.
shows which is the right side because if you are on the wrong side, generally these giants or so-called Fortune 100 or Fortune 500 companies, they just stop working on the nations which they think is not going on the right direction. If they are not stopped in any of those territories, then the answer is pretty much clear, I think.
Actually, you brought up an interesting idea. Uh, as we know, as we are both adults already, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know, the world is not just black and white. They're not like a pure evil and the pure good.
Right.
The world is moving only because people are passionate about some ideas and they have mission and they have goals. And the world is based on capitalism uh, theme. So if there is a company, a big one, supports something, it believes that it does a good thing because a company needs to sell the product and get revenue. None of the company is going to support any damaging experience, reputation, and brand because that means that they will not survive and they will be canceled and they will be forgotten.
I totally agree with you. I think the main point of view from the business point of view that you just mentioned, I think that's you need to make money, right? And to make
Mm-hmm.
money, you need to make sure you are on the right path or you are at the right place with the right people who can buy it. And we all know where the other part of the nation or the other part of the country, or we can say neighbors, are investing. They are not going to buy the products, they want to buy missiles or something else. So,
Just understand the major idea. Why should you support someone who is killing your potential clients? You're going to have less money, you're going to have less revenue.
they are
You
going
should
to be
support
lost.
life, not death.
Right. And I really like that point. Like, there is not black and white, there are more than 50 shades of gray. Some movie suggested in a different terms, but here we can say, like, in people as well, there are different time where everyone wants to play a role in their life that they don't think they will play or that they think
Mhm.
is right in their mind, but
Yes.
that might not be right in your eyes or in someone else's eyes. So it's really not always black and white. The one I'm wearing, it can be different
Mhm.
color or different shades for the same. So very valid point, Asya, on the same.
My pleasure. I'm trying to be smart.
You are. That's nice. So I think we have covered most of the part. Any specific thing you want us to know, like from the ground?
Um, I just wanna bring attention of everyone that when you're reading news, cool down the emotions. Always read it from the perspective of who is benefiting from the news that they're delivering to you. And always doubt if the fact that they're reading, they're right, because there is a huge amount of misinformation. And in this current world of where AI is becoming the king, you can be fooled so easily. So once you read something extremely terrific, or you saw a heartbreaking picture, or you heard somebody's cries about something, put it on stop, take 1 minute, and think, how much is this a truth? Is it for promoting a good idea or a bad idea? Who is gonna win in this situation? And the most important, are you gonna win in this situation if you're gonna support this part? Or maybe you're gonna lose.
I think that's a very important point. A really, really important point for anyone who is just reading a news article and making his mind from that. Because if you are, what I think is, if you're reading a article from a news channel, you should know who is the promoter behind the news channel, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's from left or he's from right, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if the channels or the publisher belong to a left, they will surely promote the left ideology, and same goes for the right one, right? So you should, uh, before trusting any source, you should yourself go through the sources and try to dig deep into the roots to all in order to know the real reality, or we can say to know the reality, what's really behind it. Because what I have seen during the war, during this Palestine movement, there were a lot of pictures being shared of children
Mm-hmm.
getting killed in the war, and just by showing few pictures, I'm not saying they were not slaughtered or they were not part of the war, but just by seeing those pictures and judging that a whole nation is wrong is not right. You should know why that has happened, how that things have happened, right? Because last night also I was hearing the speech of the PM of Israel. He was saying the war is not against the Lebanon or the country, it's
Mm-hmm.
against the terrorist or the group of people who are trying to do such things. And by the same thing we've heard from Iran, they are saying we are on the war against Israel. They haven't mentioned like we are not a war against the people, right? So I think
Mm-hmm.
these are the small things that we need to pay attention to in order to form our thought or our perspective, to know which is the right side, or is there really a right side or not, or is there really a wrong side or not. So I think, yeah, that's very, very fun. I think I have again summarized what you have just spoken.
I will ruin this because I will add you one more layer.
Yeah.
Don't forget that everyone is extremely smart. No, people are stupid. And news channels and bloggers, they're earning on your suffering and sufferings of other people. They are doing the news and updates entertaining. So you will hook up on this and you're going to read this every day, doom scrolling. And that is why sometimes they bring the misinformation because they were so greedy to deliver a nice content to you. And as a result, everything goes bad.
I think that was the main reason I started this channel, in order to cover the reality or cover the real stories. That's why I think I told you at the starting as well. I don't
Mhm.
edit or cut the answers. I post it as it is, so that no one can feel these are the misinformation, or this is just done to gain the attention or followers. The main idea behind Professionals Unplugged was this only, like to know the truth behind people's story, and to know everyone has their own perspective, and to show the real perspective without cutting just clips or just
Yes, without marketing fluff.
yeah. I think it's great. We had a great connect, and I hope it will help a lot of people in order to know the reality, the ground reality about what is happening in Israel, or not only in Israel, or what really happens in a country that is going through a war. Hopefully you are on the right side. That's why you are not cut from the communication. But sometimes people might also need to go in a country where there is no communication. That is also a
Mhm.
part. So we can hope for the best and things go well.
Promise to be a good human.
Yeah, promise to be a good human. I think that's the best part on which we can end this podcast. Let's promise to be a good human and try to help the community around us to grow.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks so much, Asya. It was really a wonderful experience. Thank you so much.
Amazing as usual. Thank you for inviting.
Thank you.